Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome you at this panel of our forum Rebuild Ukraine. The panel Agriculture Key Domain to Ukraine's Recovery, European Union Access and Global Food Security. Special thanks to our panelists. We have here Mr. Sergey FEOFILOV, Director of Ukrainian AgroConsult, and Mr. Ciprian OLTEANU, the President of the Romanian Farmers Club in Romania. And online we expect to be with us Mr. VERNET, Secretary General from Farm Europe, France, and I don't know. Yes, he is already online. Hello. We are waiting also for Mr. IFTIME, the chairman of Botoșani County Council, and the representative of the Ministry of Commerce of Economy from Ukraine. For us, for the New Strategy Center, is not the first time that we are talking at our forum, also already at the previous editions, about the agriculture and food as the main solutions on the one hand for Ukraine's recovery, but on the other hand also as objectives for weaponization of food. 2 years ago, because of the military conflict in Europe, we concluded that weaponization of food has to be seen as a risk to the local, global, but also to the world stability. And at that time, I didn't imagine that after 2 years, more than 2 years, we will face some worries. Please let me introduce shortly our speakers. Mr. Sergey FEOFILOV is General Director at Ukrainian AgroConsult, founder of the company, the first Ukrainian consulting agency specializing in the agricultural sector of Ukraine and the Black Sea region since 1994. Mr. FEOFILOV has more than 20 years of expertise in analysis of the agricultural market of Ukraine and of the Black Sea countries. He has broad national and international contacts in trading, banking and investment spheres, and is a recognized speaker at the major international agri-conferences. He was trained under a number of national and international programs in the United Kingdom and in the USA, and holds a PhD degree in economics. Welcome. And I have also to present our second face-to-face panelist, Mr. Ciprian OLTEANU, is partner of Casa Agro Farm in Călăraș and a member of the board of directors of the Romanian Farmers Club. His main responsibility is maximizing land productivity, ensuring that daily activities are well planned in the company, and that everything is prepared in advance for various agricultural operations. He coordinates the implementation of new technologies such as variable and seed rate, GPS-guided equipment, and farm management software for improved planning and better tracking of input consumption. He also manages the farm team, develops relationships with clients and suppliers, negotiates contracts and oversees deliveries. Since 2016, Mr. OLTEANU has served as president of Unirea Călăraș. Through this organization, he has access to European-funded projects with a total value of 2 million euros, fully non-refundable, and developed an irrigation system across 750 hectares. He implemented also new technologies, satellite monitoring, automated full consumption tracking, and weather station with underground sensors to measure soil moistures. He holds a master's degree in accounting from the Bucharest University of Economic Studies, and 2012 graduated the Business Administration faculty, the English program at the same university. Welcome. And with us online, Mr. VERNET is Secretary General, Farm Europe, and has an extensive experience in European politics. He has served the European Parliament as the spokesperson for a political group and the European Commission as political and communication advisor to the Commissioner for Agriculture and Rural Development. Previously, he worked as a journalist and reporting on European Union affairs. Welcome again, and the floor is yours. I think our guest and the panelist related to our subject can tell you more, and the floor is yours, please.
Okay. Okay, so we should speak in English, right? Yes. Or no? Okay. First of all, welcome everybody. Thank you for inviting us. The Romanian Farmers Club is an entity of which I'm the president for the moment. We try to address the farmers' needs and better represent them when it comes to whatever agriculture policies are being applied through the Romanian government or through the European Union, and we try to address the problems that can happen before they are going to be applied. So we try to keep in contact as much as possible with the authorities from Brussels so that we can get in advance and to better understand how the next European agricultural policy is going to affect us and how we can be better prepared so that we can get ahead of the problems. From what I understand, we should address the rebuilding of Ukraine subject, which is a very important one, especially when it comes to agriculture, Romanian agriculture, because there is this fact that Ukraine cannot be ignored due to its sheer capabilities of agriculture production, and it being our neighbor, especially in the past few years, where they have been overcome with so many problems, the war and drought and so many other agricultural problems. We as Romanians have opened up borders for them so that we can better ensure that the grains and the crops that they produce can go to the markets that they usually go, and therefore we are open to always applying this kind of help, of course, but sometimes things have not gone as they were supposed to, and that was mainly due to our incapacity to better monitor whatever grains were passing through our country. So some people got the upside hand of that and got some advantages that they were not supposed to have. And that was, of course, affecting the local Romanian market when it comes to the prices of the grains sold in Romania. So the Romanian farmers were somewhat affected. But I think that Ukraine should be a part of the European Union, and we all think that Ukraine should be a part of the European Union. But in order for that to happen, there's going to be a very long process in which Ukrainian farmers are going to have to change the way they do agriculture, because at the moment there's a huge difference in how we do it in Europe, because we have a lot of different substances that are not available to European market, and the way we are forced to work the land so that is very friendly to the environment, so that we do not do significant harm to our land, so that we try to preserve it as much as possible. So that's going to be a huge change for them also, and this is going to be a direct impact in their productivity and in their cost, as it was for us also. But from what knowledge we do have is that Ukrainian farmers are mainly large farms and way larger than what we have in Romania and what we have in Eastern Europe. And from what we know, they have access to the latest technology also. So I don't think that the European regulations should be too much of a hassle for them. And I think that's going to be a small obstacle that they can manage to overcome. But like I said, we should try to, at the end of the day, to play on the same level field, because at the moment they need our help, of course. Like I said, we try to open the borders and allow the grain to pass through, but we should try to better monitor those and see how we can work together with them in the future, because Ukraine is our most important neighbor when it comes to agriculture productivity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this introduction.
Shall I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Well, first of all, thank you very much for organizers of this great event for my invitation to make a brief about Ukrainian agriculture. I would like to focus on Ukrainian contribution to the food security, and before that, just a couple of words about my company, UkrAgroConsult. Well, this is a private company. Well, I am founder. We prepare market reports daily, weekly. We have about 250 customers. Well, and we also prepare market research. And in next April, we will arrange in Kyiv international, maybe international conference, Black Sea Grain 2026. Well, this conference will be 24th. So you are welcome to Ukraine for sure. Well, thank you for your description of the general situation. It is really rather complicated trends. Well, but still, what was the or slightly more of wheat? And the share of milling wheat was unexpectedly lower. It was at level of 40–45%, and all other was is of feed quality. Corn estimation is at 32 million tons. Well, and USDA just yesterday decreased its estimation, its number of Ukrainian corn production, well, but by 3 million tons. So the market recognizes, the market in Ukraine is convinced that corn production was 31, the lowest estimation. Well, USDA gave the number of 29 million tons. Well, but it is the estimation of the U.S. specialists. Well, this same situation is with sunflower seed. This crop is unusually low, from 14 million last year down to 11.1 million in 2025. Again, USDA number is even lower, 10.5 million tons. Well, but we have great experience in estimation of sunflower seed production for 26 years of our activity. Well, as a rule, this number will be increased by USDA later in this season, I'm sure, and not only not only myself is sure. Well, soy production decreased mainly because of weather. It is, in spite of bigger area, the soybean production was hit by drought, and it is now at level of 5.2 million tons against more than 6 million last year. Well, and weather is now critically important. Well, and the issues of irrigation become more and more loudly discussed, not only in Ukraine but also in other countries, in Romania, in Bulgaria, in Serbia. And well, anyway, weather not only because of drought but also rains during the field work, during the harvesting, and because of that we expect that next year in 26 corn production will be lower at level of 30-31 million tons because of lower area, and Ukrainian farmers, I suppose, will prefer to expand the area of oil seeds, like especially sunflower seed. And due to long rains, the corn moisture now is very often at level of 30, even 35%, while standard moisture is just 14%. And so it is farmers are forced to dry the wet corn, and this is additional costs, considerable costs, because of deficit of electricity, including because of that. And well, but anyway, the high moisture of corn is not only for Ukraine but also in other corn producers, like in Romania and Bulgaria. And also the weather again and lower exports of Ukrainian grain this season. This is because farmers are not satisfied with the current lower prices, at their consideration lower prices, and they intend to expect the much higher bids from exporters. Well, but still, as for prices, according to our calculations of UkrAgroConsult team, the average price of wheat for 5 months, July-November, is 220 US dollars per ton, 220. And for the same period last year, for July-November 2024, the average price was just 190. Well, for barley, this is even more impressive increase, well, up to 215 average price for barley for 5 months. Well, last year it was 170 and 215, yes, and it is for the first time now, early December, barley prices, FOB, are even higher than Ukrainian milling wheat prices with protein content 11%. So I even do not remember that the time when barley prices were even higher than milling wheat. Well, so we prepared and next week, next Monday, just 4 or 5 days, we issue the first forecast, UkrAgroConsult forecast of 2026 grain production in Ukraine with monthly updates. And I suppose that barley area next year and production will likely go up as this is the cheapest crop from the point of view of costs, of production costs. But at the same time, the prices generate the highest margin. Maybe this will influence. But another risks include area expansion not only in Ukraine, but also in other key producers of barley, like Canada, like Australia. And so the global supply of barley next year might be even higher than expected. And so the higher supply, the lower prices. Yes, it is a simple rule of the market. Well, a similar situation, similar story might be with the rapeseed, by the way. Yes, it is European Commission stated that area increased in the European Union countries, rapeseed area increased by 7%. Winter rapeseed, I mean. Well, so the very high, very impressively high rapeseed prices this season might be corrected next season. Well, so as for the grain production for the next year, well, we suppose that it will be quite in line with the previous trends. Corn, I've already mentioned, 31 million ton corn, wheat 22, maybe 23 million, something like that. You see, and coming back to oil seeds, well, next year, quite likely, the area and production of sunflower seed will increase and rather impressively. Well, and currently the sunflower seed crop numbers are ranged very broadly, from 10 million tons up to 11.5 million tons. 11.5 is UkrAgroConsult estimate, as we are rather optimistic. Yes, however, the sunflower production decreased, and not only in Ukraine, but also in other Black Sea and Danube countries. Well, and crushers now are literally are hunting for sunflower seed to increase their stocks. Well, but at the same time, crushers switch to buying and crushing of other oil seeds like soybean and rapeseed. So it is and higher and stable production of other oil seeds is quite able to offset the decline in sunflower seed production. Well, Ukraine introduced export duty, 10% on exports of rapeseed and soybean. And so, starting from September, the domestic sales were switched to crushers, and so the export of rapeseed oil increased, and soybean oil increased considerably from Ukraine. well, but exports of rapeseed meal and soybean meal were rather stable compared year to year. Well, because I suppose of the strong competition in this market. So as for exports of Ukrainian sunflower seed, of sunflower oil, well, it is lower because a lower supply, well, but still roughly 55% for the 3 months of this season is exported to the European Union, and roughly 15% is exported to India. Well, so this is key destinations, and really it is necessary to stress out that all regulations on the Ukrainian and Romanian and Slovakian and Polish and Hungarian borders are quite effective, and it is possible to make transit of Ukrainian commodities through neighboring countries to Central and Western European countries. Well, and another point I would like to stress out is that Ukraine now is one of the biggest producers of non-GMO soybeans. Although soybean exports are not so high of soybeans, but UkrAgroConsult analysts expect that later in the season the European demand for non-GMO soybeans will increase. In general, Ukraine is firmly and consistently following the strategy of switching from exports of raw oil seeds to exports of vegetable oils and meals, and this is trend not only for Ukraine but also in other Black Sea and Danube countries like Romania and Bulgaria. Another driver, downward driver of Ukrainian exports is higher competition now in the grain and oilseed and vegetable oils market. Well, in the current season, the MENA countries, North African countries, well, like Egypt, like Algeria, much often buy wheat from Romania and Bulgaria. Well, for sure, the wheat production and exports from Russia, I mean wheat production and export of Russia is the most important as for pricing of wheat in the whole Black Sea region. Well, but still competition is increasing, and especially after the complications in the war risks. Well, as insurance tariffs increased impressively in the Black Sea region, especially for those vessels who are calling to Russian ports, and this increase in rates for Russian vessels was even higher than for Ukrainian vessels. Well, but as for insurance rates for vessels to Constanta, to Burgas, to Varna, these insurance rates are rather low, and this makes grain from these countries may make the grain and other agricultural commodities from these countries more attractive for buyers.
Thanks, Mr.
Well,
FEOFILOV.
so sorry for maybe for too long speech. Well,
no, we will have also the opportunity during minimum 1 or 2 questions, because yes. I'm thankful that you presented the state of art in Ukraine.
Towards in conclusion, well, my forecast is that changes in the Black Sea and Danube region have just started, and we will see much more changes in the coming 3, 5, 7 years, and it is necessary to be ready for these changes, to be competitive. Thank you for your attention. I will be happy to answer.
Thanks for this presentation of the state of art, what is with the harvest and weather conditions now in Ukraine, and also comparing with last year and the forecast for 2026. But before I will put the question for you, I give the virtual floor to Mr. VERNET. Please, Mr. VERNET.
Yes, hello everybody. Do you hear me correctly in the room?
We can hear you and see you.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the new Strategy Center for not only inviting me, but opening this option to speak with you online, because due to difficult flight connections and many travels, I could not make it to Bucharest as I would have liked. But I would have liked very much to be with you, because clearly the topic of today, the topic you are discussing today, is real, including ahead of the enlargement, are successful for our agriculture and farming community. And that's why, on a small note, it's not the topic of today, but I regret actually that we are discussing this, including at EU level, so late, because we already have a CAP reform on the table in Brussels, which is for the moment disconnected from this topic. And I think it deserves anticipation, as it was underlined by the president of the Romanian Farmers Club. Otherwise, we have all the ingredients for frictions and for collision course. Indeed, on the side of the European farmers, some are afraid by the price competitivity of Ukrainian farmers. On average, indeed, it depends from one region to another. There is a cost production are below 25% for corn and 40% for wheat. So there is really competitiveness advantage when it comes to Ukraine, and a double advantage, especially in the EU, as we are talking about climate policy, which is a low emission factor for Ukrainian production. So this is very important, and this is to have in mind. And we know perfectly, and we have dialogue with Ukrainian farmers. Ukrainian farmers are also afraid of European norms because they see the difficulties of European farmers to compete at global level. So we have these two perceptions, and our challenge today is to build a pathway that is a win-win for all. And at Farm Europe, we strongly believe that this pathway exists, but there is one prerequisite, is that we need to anticipate it. There are geopolitical reasons for enlargement, and there is clearly the room, if we anticipate it well, to be stronger together, both internally in Europe, and I will come back to that, and externally at a global level. And it was reminded just before the attitude of Russia on global market. Indeed, as European, we need to keep our agriculture strong and stronger, both for internal and external market. So I would see, and I would like to share with you as opening ideas 3 elements in order to build convergences and to build common interest. And maybe I think we need to reflect, let's say, 5-10 years time after the enlargement, how we see our agriculture together, and how do we see our common internal market when after enlargement. And I think the first element, which is an element for which on our side, on the side of the EU, we would have a request from the Ukrainians, for the Ukrainian farmers, please help us also to change EU policies when it comes to agriculture, and to make sure that the norms that you are scared with are changed in order to be together competitive. And I think today, after 5 years which were driven by the farm to fork, there is a change in mindset with the simplification package, but it is not, we are not yet there where we take agriculture as a truly economic sector, building a competitive sector. And I think there are many fields, many specific fields in agriculture where we need also to change our rules so that when Ukraine joins the EU looks different and is more friendly for production in Europe. So that's the first element. The second one is, and it was a bit mentioned indirectly via the strengths on soy. Indeed, in the EU, especially in some western part of the EU, we are strongly dependent when it comes to soy. So it's only one example, but there are multiple examples where we can be complementary, and we can have stronger value chain together. And it's connected with a third point, which is most probably the most important point I would like to make. We should not look at agriculture on both sides as a static sector. This sector is fast evolving, and our economy is fast evolving. If we project ourselves on the pathway toward a carbon neutral economy, let's say 2050, because for the moment that's the target at EU level in the climate law, even though it's a bit optimistic target, but if we are serious about it, it's clear that the future of EU economy is bioeconomy. And if we want to transform our economy, to decarbonize our economy, we need to have and to activate photosynthesis. We need to have biogenic carbon. It means that the anticipation that we do at Farm Europe is that we need at least to increase the production by 25% in order to decarbonize chemistry, transport, and so on. So there are many opportunities in this field, but if we want to seize opportunities for the farmers on both sides, there is one key word: anticipation and investment, because we need to create the demand, we need to build the value chains, and we need to create these market opportunities so that our biogenic carbon from farmers can compete with the fossil carbon today. So that's why we focus a lot on bioeconomy as well, and we see it as a real opportunity. And we see it as a major growth potential. And I see the title of the panel, Rebuilding Ukraine, security opportunity investments. Those keywords are very relevant for agriculture. I would add just one point that for me it's not only rebuilding Ukraine when it comes to agriculture, it's building the future of our agriculture together. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you, for this introduction. Actually, almost our time, but I will. I prepared after your intervention some questions, but I will put only one, because I don't want to be to delay the next panel, and I will go out from the sentence from Mr. OLTEANU, because we are facing Ukraine's recovery in terms both of EU access and of the global food security. We have to see forward. And he's right, at the end of the day we are playing on the same level. Foresighting this and thinking that we are playing, all of us, on the same level. Please, each of you, in 1 minute, what can you see as structural reforms in Ukraine? What is needed and most important to align Ukraine's agriculture production with the EU standards and with the common agricultural policy?
Well, I don't think that I can, or we as representatives of farmers can say what changes should be done in Ukraine structurally, from the structurally point of view, but for sure that if Ukraine is to adhere to European Union, it needs to change the way it's doing farming. It needs to cut off a lot of pesticides that are harmful for human consumption as we see it. That's going to be a direct impact on the costs, and like I said before, they have to align to the European Union's regulations and take better care of the climate and of the environment, so that at the end we can all be a bigger and better producer for the consumer, because that's what we aim for, to produce better food. And why not increase the quality of its production, so that we can we can create better products that can be exported out of the European Union with Ukraine in it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for this question. Well, firstly, I would like to note that members of our discussion mentioned Ukraine joining to the EU as a matter of fact. Well, I suppose that we need to taste the experience of Polish joining to the EU. Well, it was a lot of talks, a lot of changes in the rules, in national rules, maybe in even in the EU. Well, but in general, well, I really think that the narrowing of Ukraine to the EU joining requests lots of activity, lots of efforts. Well, what direction it will be? Well, it is a subject of a special research, a subject of a special study. What shall do Ukraine to join, and what shall be done in the European Union, something like that. Well, for sure, as I mentioned in my summary, that the changes only started, including the climate, including geopolitical, including geoeconomic So all these factors, all these drivers are rather unpredictable.
Thank you. Mr. VERNET, please.
Yes, as Mr. OLTEANU said, I don't think we can tell Ukrainian farmers what they should do. What I would like to share with you is what I think from the EU point of view, what we cannot do or what we should not do. I think within the EU today, there is a very tense discussion when it comes to, for example, Mercosur agreement. And one key element is reciprocity and level playing field. I think what is very important is to have a convergence in the norms and to have one rules for one market. And I say that because I say that adding a very important element is that when I say one market, it's also the global market, because our farmers in Europe are also present on the global market. They are also exporting. So it means that we cannot have one origin, EU, with double standard neither. So I think we should seek convergence, and convergence in norms as well, being open on our side as well to make some modification when needed, but with the clear objective to have the same approach and the same norms on both sides for both internal and external markets.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. OLTEANU, Mr. FEOFILOV, Mr. VERNET. And before closing our panel, I have to announce the next panel starting sharp at 6. Unfortunately, we lose our break. The next panel will be lessons learned from Ukraine, useful for our defense industry, new technologies and asymmetric approaches, and will take place in the Marble Hall. Thank you all.